Welcome back, everybody. Rob from Crown of Thorns with a brand new video just for you. And I am not in front of the whiteboard, as you can tell, because this Bible study is about Acts 23. We're continuing our journey through the book of Acts. We're getting close to the end. And after I record this, I'm actually going to record 1 Timothy 5. That's the other verse by verse that we're doing at this point. Hopefully you've had a chance to watch the video that came out last Sunday, which was the 9th. Yes, on the 9th, which was dispensational salvation. I've been getting a lot of feedback on that video, and a lot of positive remarks. And then, of course, there's always one or two people that want to argue, but that's okay. As long as they remain respectful, which sometimes doesn't happen, but whatever. It's all good. But that video, make sure you watch it. And that's actually part of a loosely based series of videos, which started with the video. It's when I filled in for Brother Breaker the previous Sunday, I believe. What was that? Oh, does it matter what church you attend? Then dispensational salvation. And then this coming Sunday, the 16th, is part one of Revelation, the book of Revelation, and how it pertains to you. And the following Sunday, which would be the 23rd, is part two of the book of Revelation and how it pertains to you. And I haven't filmed it yet, but there will be a video on Daniel 70 weeks, a video on Matthew 24, and it will, the other bookend to this whole loosely based series will be the two witnesses. All right, so make sure you watch all of those, preferably in order. It'll make more sense that way. All right, got myself some coffee. Up until about 2 or 3 years ago, I didn't really like coffee. I wouldn't drink it. I just couldn't, I didn't have a taste for it. You know what I mean? It's one of those things. It's like I don't know. It eventually, you either will always love it or you'll always hate it, I guess. And now I love it. Now I love it. I didn't hate coffee. It's just it didn't appeal to me. It's I forget the phrase I'm trying to find, but it doesn't matter. An acquired taste. There it is. It's an acquired taste. And it does depend on what kind of coffee you buy. Now, as I have mentioned before, my wife and you can see we got another rabbit trail. A cat here at the RV park showed up at our camper because the people that were taking care of it, they just kind of ditched her. They just left. And so she wound up at our place. And so we're the softies. We love critters. So we brought her in. She was an indoor-outdoor cat, so perfect. Great, great, great. However, we didn't realize at the time that she was pregnant. So now we have 5 of these little buggers. They're about 7 weeks old. Today they are 7 weeks old. There's 2 of them playing in the kitchen sink. I don't know why, but they enjoy that. And then there's this one here in this basket, and then there's 2 back in the bedroom taking a nap. So anyway, who cares? Well, I do, because I like cats. So we're taking care of these kitties. So if you see them popping in and out of the video, that's why. So anyway, unfortunately, I don't know what it is about this area where we live, but feline leukemia runs rampant around here. And the mama cat, just a few days ago, we took her to the vet because we were going to get her fixed so that she wouldn't have more kittens. Well, we took her in and come to find out she had feline leukemia. Well, there's not much you can do for feline leukemia, so we ended up having to put her down. That was really sad. Fortunately, the kitties are old enough, they're eating and drinking on their own, so at least there was that positive aspect. Anyway, I don't know what did it have to do with what I was saying before? I don't even know what I was saying before. Oh, coffee. How did I get from cats to coffee? Anyway, coffee, really quickly. It does depend on what the type of coffee you drink. Now, my wife and I were on the carnivore diet, so it's just meat and dairy. That's it. Eggs, meat, dairy. And we try to adhere to that. Sometimes we cheat, but we try to adhere to that. Coffee is acceptable, even though it doesn't really fall into, that category. It is acceptable. So, here's another one. Say hi. This one's called Little Old Lady. And the reason I call her that is because the front of her, she's got a bunch of white hairs, kind of like my beard. So, little old lady. She looks like an old lady. Anyway, this one here is called Quiet, even though he is not quiet. Not anymore. He used to be, but not anymore. Anyway, another rabbit trail. So anyway, we can drink coffee on the carnivore diet, but I don't use cream or anything like that. I used to just drink my coffee black. But I do now, and I've been doing for a year or two since I started drinking coffee, I sweeten it with honey, because honey gives it a nice little bit of a sweet to it, but it's not sugar, and honey is good for you, antioxidants and all that good stuff. So it's a good thing. But anyway, and I probably shouldn't plug particular brands, but I'm going to here. Wicked Joe is an organic coffee, really good, top of the line stuff, and it doesn't cost that much. And that's what I'm having today. Right? Long way to get around to telling you what I drank today, what I'm drinking today. Wicked Joe coffee with raw, unfiltered, organic honey. That's important too. All right, 6 minutes into the video, let's get into this Bible study. We're almost done with the book of Acts. We are on Acts 23. I'm going to do the best that I can. You can see the kitties are hanging out, and that's fine. Sometimes they like to just come and lay down on whatever I'm trying to do. So, yep, here goes one right now. Please don't stop right there. Come over here. No, see, she's going to stop. I got to try to read around you. All right, there she goes. All right. And Paul, earnestly beholding the council, said, Men and brethren, I have lived in all good conscience before God until this day. Remember, this is Paul. He was hauled in front of the Romans, and they were going to beat him. But Paul reminded them, or actually informed them, that he is a Roman citizen. So they had crossed some lines. But anyway, now he's still answering to these folks. He's going to be standing before the high priest, Ananias. He's defending himself and defending what his message is, the gospel of Christ. All right. Verse 2, And the high priest Ananias commanded them that they stood by him to smite him on the mouth. Whoa. Then said Paul unto him, God shall smite thee, thou whited wall. For sittest thou to judge me after the law, and commandest me to be smitten contrary to the law? See, this is what hypocrisy is. This is hypocrisy personified. See, Ananias commands for somebody to just backhand Paul in the mouth. Now, see, that's against the law. Now, see, the reason they're dragging Paul in front of the council anyway is because they're saying that he is breaking the law by preaching the teachings of Christ, by preaching their Messiah that they rejected. So it's kind of hypocritical to say, hey, you're breaking the law, you shouldn't do that, and then turn around and do it yourself. And that's exactly what Ananias did, and Paul calls him out on it. Verse 4, And they that stood by said, Revilest thou God's high priest? Then said Paul, I wist not, brethren, for he that was the high priest, for it was written, Thou shalt not speak evil of the ruler of thy people. Now see, they weren't supposed to talk poorly of the high priest. You're not supposed to speak poorly of the elders in the church, okay? Unless there's a valid reason, and then you're supposed to call them out. And you're supposed to do it one-on-one. If that doesn't work, then you take someone with you. If that doesn't work, then you call them out in front of the whole congregation. All right? And so Paul wasn't talking poorly about the guy. He's just calling him out because he's being a hypocrite. So there's nothing wrong with that. But again, it's one of those things. It's the gaslighting. Oh, so you hate the high priest, huh? What? Paul never said he hated the guy. He just said he shouldn't have had him, command the other guy to smack him in the face. But people will do that. They'll twist things around to try to make it seem worse than what it really is, to defend their own erroneous position. It's insane. You see that on television all the time with all your politicians, right? All right. Verse 6, But when Paul perceived that the one part were Sadducees and the other Pharisees, he cried out in the council, Men and brethren, I am a Pharisee, the son of a Pharisee. Of the hope and resurrection of the dead I am called in question. Now, Paul is kind of turning it around here. He's now going to play one part of the crowd against the other part of the crowd. See, there's Sadducees and Pharisees. Pharisees believed in a resurrection. The Sadducees do not believe in a resurrection. That's why they're Sadducee. I know it's lame, but I've heard Kent Hovind say that. I've heard Brother Breaker say that. I've heard some other people say that, the Sadducees don't believe in the resurrection. That's why they're sad, you see. Okay, anyway. So I'm going to get my plug too. But Paul is what he's doing is to divide and conquer. See, all of them are against Paul. But now he's found a way to split them up. So now they're going to start bickering against each other. Politics, again, right? We see that all the time. You have the right wing and the left wing. They're the wings of the same bird. I don't know when people are going to finally get that through their head. Neither one of them are for you. But what they do is they provoke different segments of the population. So now we're all arguing black versus white, gay versus straight, up versus down, Democrat versus Republican, so on and so forth. And while we're bickering amongst ourselves, they're up there laughing at us because they're all on the same side, and they're just doing whatever they want to because now you're distracted fighting over trivial stuff. Now, in this case, Paul does it to his advantage, and he does so very skillfully and with purpose, and rightfully so. All right. So he knows if he starts talking about the resurrection, the Sadducees are going to get really upset about this, and they're going to start bickering about, there's no resurrection. And the Pharisees are going to jump in, oh, yes, there is. Divide and conquer. Paul's very smart. All right. Verse 7. And when he had so said, there arose a dissension between the Pharisees and the Sadducees, and the multitude was divided. For the Sadducees say there is no resurrection, neither angel nor spirit, but the Pharisees confess both. So, there it is. The Sadducees believe this, the Pharisees believe that. Paul knows, hey, this is a dividing point. I can take some of the pressure off me that he doesn't deserve to have anyway by making this one statement. Now they'll start bickering amongst themselves. 9. And there arose a great cry, and the scribes that were of the Pharisees' part arose and strove, saying, we find no evil in this man. But if a spirit or an angel has spoken to him, let us not fight against God. So all of a sudden now they're going to defend Paul because they at least have something in common with Paul. It's kind of like the enemy of my enemy is my friend. All right. Paul was the enemy, but now there's this divisive issue about the resurrection. They agree with what Paul's saying on that point. So now they're buddies because now they can go against the Sadducees. See how quickly and easily people will turn on each other? And again, the politicians know that. That's why they're always provoking people. Provoking people. They'll provoke one group so that the other group gets mad. It happens all the time. And we need to stop falling for it. All right? But here, let's keep going. Verse 10. And when there arose a great dissension, the chief captain, fearing lest Paul should have been pulled in pieces of them, commanded the soldiers to go down and to take him by force from among them and to bring him into the castle. So, they're afraid that the Sadducees are going to get really riotous and attack Paul. So they're getting Paul out of there. 11. And the night following, the Lord stood by him and said, and this is Jesus speaking, letters are in red, be of good cheer, Paul, for as thou hast testified of me in Jerusalem, so must thou bear witness also at Rome. At Rome. So here's the thing. I think we read it earlier where had Paul not appealed to Caesar, the case would have been settled for him. And none of this even would be happening, and he wouldn't have been taken to Rome. But Paul did appeal to Caesar. Maybe that wasn't the best decision, but God wanted Paul in Rome anyway. So whether it was by Paul's own means or by the way God would have preferred, God's plan always comes together. So Jesus is saying to Paul, hey, be of good cheer. I sent you to Jerusalem. I need you in Rome. Now I need you in Rome. So that's where you're going to go, and just follow the plan. Trust the plan, right? 12. And when it was day, certain of the Jews banded together and bound themselves under a curse, saying that they would neither eat nor drink till they had killed Paul. This is the craziest thing to me. I was just thinking about this the other day. I have no idea why, but what these Jews are going to do is basically going to do a hunger strike. Okay, we won't eat or drink until we kill Paul. All right, fine. And how does that hurt anybody else? You know what I mean? It's like you see all these, like in the 60s, there were all these protesters, and they were protesting one thing or another. Sometimes legitimate, sometimes just stupid, but whatever. But then they would do these hunger strikes. We won't eat until we get our way. Okay, fine, that just means more food for me. I mean, how is that a threat? You know what I mean? It doesn't affect me at all. The things people say and do, it's so crazy. And that's what these Jews are doing. We're not going to eat till we kill Paul. Great. Good luck with that. Why do I care? You know what I mean? 13. And they were made more than 40, which had made this conspiracy. So there's 40 of them, more than 40. And they came to the chief priests and elders and said, we have bound ourselves under a great curse, that we will eat nothing until we have slain Paul. Now therefore, ye with the council signify to the chief captain that he bring him down unto you tomorrow, as though ye would inquire something more perfectly concerning him, and we, or ever he come near, are ready to kill him. So now, look, we're not gonna rest until we kill Paul. But by the way, we need you to help us. We need you to set it all up for us. Then we'll move in. Yeah, it's kind of an empty threat, but that's what they want. They want for the chief counsel, the captain. They want for them to bring Paul down, as though they want to talk to him about something. And then when he's standing there, unaware of what's happening, we'll move in and kill him. Real brave, right? Real manly. All right. And when Paul's sister's son, that'd be his nephew, heard of their lying in wait, he went and entered into the castle and told Paul. All right. So now we know Paul had a sister, and his sister most likely was married or had been married and had a son. So this is Paul's nephew. All right. 17. Then Paul called one of the centurions unto him and said, bring this young man unto the chief captain, for he hath a certain thing to tell him. So he took him and brought him to the chief captain and said, Paul the prisoner called me unto him and prayed me to bring this young man unto thee, who hath something to say unto thee. So Paul saying to the captain, you need to take, bring this guy, his nephew, to the chief captain, so that he can expose the plan that these hunger-striking Jews have planned. All right. 19. Then the chief captain took him by the hand and went with him aside privately and asked him, what is that thou hast to tell me? And he said, the Jews have agreed to desire thee, that thou wouldest bring down Paul tomorrow into the council, as though they would inquire somewhat of him more perfectly. But do not thou yield unto them, for there lie in wait for him of them more than 40 men, which have bound themselves with an oath, that they will neither eat nor drink till they have killed him. And now they are ready, looking for a promise from thee. So he's basically just telling the chief captain, look, these guys, they're conspiring. This is what they're planning to do. Don't fall for it. All right, 22. So the chief captain then let the young man depart, and charged him, see thou tell no man that thou hast showed these things to me. And he called unto him 2 centurions, saying, make ready 200 soldiers to go to Caesarea, and horsemen 70, and spearmen 200 at the 3rd hour of the night. So he's planning an escape. He's going to get Paul out of there. 24. And provide them beasts, that they may set Paul on, and bring him safe unto Felix the governor. And he wrote a letter after this manner. Claudius Lysias, unto the most excellent governor Felix, sendeth greeting. This man was taken of the Jews, and should have been killed of them. Then came I with an army, and rescued him, having understood that he was a Roman. Notice how he's kind of taking credit for this. He's like, and then I came in and I saved the day. Well, you only knew what was going to happen because Paul's nephew told you. But whatever. That's how it goes, right? Take credit for something even if you don't deserve the credit. Anyway, 28. And when I would have known the cause wherefore they accused him, I brought him forth into their council, whom I perceived to be accused of questions of their law, but to have nothing laid to his charge worthy of death or of bonds. And was told me how the Jews laid wait for the man. I sent straightway to thee, and gave commandment to his accusers also to say before thee what they had against him. Farewell. So he's sending a letter ahead of himself to Felix to let him know, to give him an update of what's happening and why Paul's going to be sent that way. All right, 31. Then the soldiers, as it was commanded them, took Paul and brought him by night to Antipatris. I think that's how you say it. On the morrow they left the horsemen to go with him, and returned to the castle, who, when they came to Caesarea, and delivered the epistle to the governor, presented Paul also before him. And when the governor had read the letter, he asked of what province he was. And when he understood that he was of Cilicia, I will hear thee, said he, when thine accusers are also come. And he commanded him to be kept in Herod's judgment hall. So he gets the letter. Paul's arrived, and he's telling Paul, you're from Cilicia. Okay, so you're in a certain province. I will hear thee when your accusers arrive. So when the accusers arrive, there's going to be, I don't know if it's a trial, but maybe like a hearing anyway. But they have to wait for the accusers to arrive. Now, I don't know. This is interesting, and we're going to see that it's a long time before Paul ever does finally meet his demise. So I wonder if these guys that made they made an oath that they're not going to eat or drink until they killed Paul. I wonder if they held out. I doubt it. I think you can go like 7 to 10 days without water, maybe 30, 40 days, I don't know, without food. It was at least a few more years before Paul would meet his demise. I doubt they lasted the 3 years without food or water. So I wonder how they reconciled that oath. Interesting, huh? All right, guys. So that's Acts 23. Wow, that went fast. It's 21 minutes. I don't know how I did that so fast. It was a shorter chapter. There was only 35 verses. That's why. So I'm going to maybe, since I'm right here, I might as well do 24, maybe 25. 24 is short too. So I might do a couple more, record a couple more chapters of Acts, and then I'm going to do 1 Timothy and finish that up. But anyway, guys, short video today, but questions or comments, leave them below. I got one kitty here sleeping on my lap, one kitty here, he still up here now sleeping in the basket, and one sleeping in the kitchen sink, and then 2 on the bed. Cats, they're something else, they're crazy. All right, guys, you take care, and God bless.